Well, hello everyone. Look at
Hello.
this. We are back. We are talking. Um, Hello all. I am not. It's interesting. It is Friday. It is time to talk anime. It is time for all that stuff. Hey Ginger Gaiden. Hey JJ. Good to see you all. If I had an expensive drink, I would hand it to you, JJ. But unfortunately, I can't do. Hey, there we are.
Cheers,
See
everybody.
here.
Happy Friday.
Yes. Really.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
Yeah. There we go.
Got my
Ah.
Pyrenees, Great Pyrenees Rescue hat. I've only seen Great Pyrenees in the cartoons,
Okay.
but I would like to rescue one if I saw one.
There we go. Isn't there a There's some anime with Great Pyrenees.
Yeah, there is. I can't remember the name of it. I watched
Yeah.
it as a kid in, of all places, an army base in Korea.
The best place to watch anime.
well, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I can't remember the name of it. I'm somewhere I could research it.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's a story about a kid with a Great Pyrenees dog, and they were having adventures.
Yeah. Oh, you're right, JJ. Azumanga Daioh does have a Great Pyrenees.
Ah,
I'm thinking of something different. I'm thinking like a kid's show where it's just the
like
kid and
that's one of the
dog.
recurring characters.
Yeah. But you're right.
Yeah.
Mr. Tadakichi, I think, is the name of the dog. Okay.
In
Hold on.
Azumanga Daioh, I just remember the cats. They always like to neko koneko, the cat on top of her head.
Where is how early does? Yep, there they are.
Yep,
Yep, chomp.
chomp. I always kicked myself because I was at a convention and I saw a cell with that Azumanga Daioh section with the cat on her head. I didn't buy it, and I've never seen it again.
Where is the dog? Does it show up at all? Yeah, there's a little fan service in Azumanga. I know.
I always
Wait, is that-
chuckle
yeah.
about the ear things flapping.
There it is. Let's see here. There it is.
Yep,
Mr. Tadakichi. Hey,
Yep.
there we go.
it's bigger
So
than
those-
the girl.
Yeah. Good old Azumanga.
Ah, yeah. I'd like some more anime like that. That was a fun.
Definitely. That was great. Oh yeah, and then it actually allows Sasaki to pet him. This is amazing. Yeah,
Pat, pat,
to
pat,
give you an idea, pat, 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 pat. Darkness falls, still patting. Love it. AOSA is fun. No complaints. Yeah, got our badges.
Let's
Left
see.
mine in somewhere.
There we go.
Um,
Now, if you're really good, you can forge one and get in real quick.
Hey now. So
No,
yeah.
actually, go for it.
So yeah, we were saying Friday a little quieter than Saturday.
Yeah, but I heard there was pretty good turnout for the educational tracks.
Yeah.
Feedback from some of the folks helping out.
I wonder if
Panel
that's
ops.
one of those things where Friday you get the people who are going to come to the panels because they're the folks who are kind of more
Intensely.
yeah.
I'm going for this panel.
Yeah. So hopefully that's what's going on there. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Sister Princess has one of those dogs. Cool. I wonder if Great Pyrenees are a thing in Japan. Could be.
Hey, they're pretty big dogs. I
Yeah.
mean, they're on the big side. Nobody's putting them in their purse.
No,
That's-
no. I wonder if, like, in the mountains, like in the remote parts, maybe
I
it's a
would
better
think,
dog for
somewhere
that.
somewhere in there. Yeah. This is a good question right here. Does AUSA get the same kind of traffic as
Ooh.
quantity?
Yeah.
I would say no. In the past, I've seen some really good cosplay, but just because of the sheer volume, number-wise, I mean, otaku, same kind of traffic.
Yeah.
Spill over to other genres.
I will say
fandom.
I see more like older fans or like parents,
parents.
with teenage
They've
kids.
done something really neat in
AUSA.
years past at AUSA. They've had a room for people with kids, little kids, who need somebody to, like, a place for young kids.
Yeah.
So you get more families, I think, coming. Married otaku who have a kid. I think I've seen that a little bit more.
But there is definitely a different vibe at AUSA.
Yeah.
AUSA feels, obviously it's smaller, so it's more intimate.
More of a hometown feel to it.
Yeah. It also has the advantage that because, I don't know, because it's so centrally located in DC, I think AUSA, well, I mean, they're both essentially in DC, but I think AUSA gets a lot of folks who just kind of hop in. They just show up for an afternoon and hang out. So that gets that kind of sense of more community, I guess.
Yeah, it hasn't moved around as much as distance-wise from where it's been. It's where Otakon has kind of gone out to Baltimore and back and traveled for a little while. So it does have more of a centralized feel, and it is kind of interesting. People do kind of pop in for just a little while. It usually seems to be pretty close to Halloween when they have it. I think it's changed a few times throughout the years, but the past few times it's been around Halloween, which is nice because you get a spillover with people who are enjoying dressing up just for Halloween as well as cosplaying. Oh, okay, I'm going to cosplay and use that for my Halloween costume as well. And so there's a little bit more of an overlap. Plus, when it's cooler climates this late in the year, people can wear warmer cosplay and not melt under the heat of the summer August sun that you get in August with Otakon. So you get some more warmer. Oh, you also get some that are very not warm.
Yes.
I saw this evening.
Yeah, not quite as bad as Crispin Freeman's famous story. But yeah.
His famous tell? Do tell.
So, is this appropriate? We'll find out. So Crispin Freeman, famous voice actor, describes going to his first con, and this was, about 20 years ago. And it was a fairly small convention. And as he said, things were different back then. Con policies were not as well formed as they were now. So he remembers watching a girl come towards him, come walking down the hall towards him, maybe 15 years old at oldest, cosplaying Rei Ayanami from Evangelion TV. Shower scene from episode 2. So here's this girl coming to him.
Wait, she's just like wearing it.
Blue bob wig, towel like this, yeah, striped like bikini bottoms.
Oh my gosh!
And that was it.
Oh my goodness!
That was her entire outfit, and she just walked down the hall, and he said he was just going, "Oh no, honey! Like just don't. Oh wow."
That's probably very good for accuracy, but I think you could get hit for indecent exposure with it. I mean,
yeah.
Plus, at that age,
yeah. So it's a
goodness.
thing that you probably shouldn't. That somebody's gonna.
At some point, policies started to get a little bit more.
Somebody's gonna, call you in and say maybe they should not do that.
People walking by, oh, I'm sorry, I knocked off.
Right, exactly.
Towel.
Yeah. So yeah, things were a little different back
I don't
then.
suppose her parents knew she was doing that.
Probably not. No. Well, and I mean conventions. I mean non-anime conventions like sci-fi conventions back in like the 70s and 80s. There was, you could wear whatever you wanted to.
Aku, how did you like the soundtrack on Wolf's Rain that you just finished up? That was something that was recommended to me by Tony Oliver.
Oh,
I asked him, what are some really good ones that you like, and that was one he recommended to me. I personally found it very, very enjoyable. Yeah, Catchy as hell.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Stray. Yeah, totally. So, JJ asking how to choose between Otakon and AUSA. They're different.
It's
I mean,
a different feel. Size wise,
no question. I mean,
Otakon is nice. Now, nicer now that they've got some space where they were running out of space when they were in Baltimore. It was pinched off at certain points, so just getting from spot to spot was tricky.
Yeah.
But at USA, I mean, anytime you have a smaller con, it's more intimate. You can get closer to all the guests, the panelists. There's a certain feel sometimes when you get too large a crowd where you kind of feel kind of lost.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it depends upon what a person's preference is for feel.
AUSA also has the advantage that they're big enough to get usually some, I want to say, significant guests. I mean, obviously that's but you'll get some voice actors. You'll get folks to talk to.
A few years back, they had the entire almost the entire Cowboy Bebop.
That's right. That was so cool.
Voice actors collective. Oh my goodness, that was
amazing.
incredible. Yeah.
So you have that advantage. But so it's basically couple times larger than say Star City Anime and one of these other small Animor, other small conventions. Certainly bigger than Animor. But and it's just that is. It's fun seeing that, and like I said, I think the difficulty with Otakon is you can feel overwhelmed.
Yeah. If you've been to a bunch of cons of all different sizes, Otakon can be really enjoyable because there's just so much, and you see so much different stuff. But if that's your first con, it can easily be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Too much all at once, overload.
Yeah, exactly. And you feel like you every Otakon I go to, I feel like I've only ever seen 10%.
Oh yeah, there's just so much going on simultaneously.
Yeah.
It's impossible to capture everything.
Yeah. Where with AUSA, you can feel like, oh, okay, I'm making choices, but I'm seeing.
I may have missed a few things, but I feel like I got to see most of everything.
Ginger, I'm so glad you got a chance to watch Kamichu, because that is one of my just little, what's the term? A lost cause.
Kamichu.
I use the term kind of vaguely. Takamichu is an anime series from, 10, 15 years ago, about a junior high school girl who suddenly discovers that she has been made the local deity. So she now has, she has the Shinto powers of her local shrine. Just one night, just overnight, they're like, okay, here you go.
Whoa!
Congratulations. So it's
what a quinceañera.
Exactly. And it's set in the 1980s. And it's just, she's this junior high school girl, and just kind of she has to deal with this. Very sweet, Ghibli-esque, I would say, in terms of just, the tone. If you like Whisper of the Heart, kind of that kind of feel for that. And just a lovely little, slice of life-ish kind of a thing. It's in Hiroshima in the 80s. And same staff as Read or Die.
I like that.
That?
I
Yeah.
like that.
So that kind of quality, but just doing very. And so the basic setting is all of the gods of Shinto are real and visible to her.
Ooh.
So anyone kind of in tune with the gods and so forth. So she's walking down the street and she will see little yokai running around, and she'll.
That's kind of cute.
Yeah, and it's really really fun. High school days. Yeah, well, that's the thing, JJ. So they actually wrote about this when they were making it. The staff said, "So we're all middle-aged men making this, basically." And the mistake people make is that they make shows about junior high set in the modern day, but where all your experiences are from 20 years ago. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. So they deliberately said it during when they were in junior high.
Well, that makes sense. They write about what they know about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it really, really worked. The weirdest anime I have ever seen.
weird in which respect?
Yeah.
Because there's so many different ways that it gets weird.
Mm-hmm.
Because mashing up different genres together, weird from a storyline or characters or narrative device. I thought there's a number of different directions it can take it. Weird from not matching any structure, chronology.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What would you say?
Yeah. I totally get you with Yurikuma Arashi. Lesbian Bear Storm. That's what that show is. So what jumps to mind is the Chocolate Panic Picture Show.
The Chocolate Panic Picture Show.
That is the name of it. It's like a half-hour OVA. The main character is, let's just say, a stereotype of a certain type of African character that is not politically correct today.
Oh my.
Yes,
Oh my.
and that is kind of the main. But it's essentially just this constantly evolving, set of images where it's this character, jumping from tree to tree, and then a tree turns into something else, and then it's this big vista and a big pyramid in the center.
Sounds kind of surreal.
Yeah, it is very surreal. It feels like those like short films where somebody clearly like started with frame one and just kept drawing and just went in whatever direction they wanted to in the moment.
Stream of consciousness, but with illustration, animation.
Yeah, so that's very weird. Angel's Egg certainly is very weird. Cat Soup.
Cat Soup.
That is, that's a weird one. It's about a cat and his sister, I think, who go off on this weird adventure. Very abstract, very surrealist. That's definitely a weird one. And yeah, I mean, Yurikuma Arashi is odd. When somebody says, I'm gonna make a show called Lesbian Bear Storm, you're like, that's funny, and that's exactly what it is. School Days weird in a good way. I can understand that. Night is Long, Walk On Girl. Yeah, I need to watch that. Abenobashi. I've not seen Abenobashi. Magical Shopping Arcade.
That is fantastic. I like that.
Okay.
I should let you.
Yeah. I heard about the plot twist early on about the young girl losing her underwear, and just got creeped out. But then folks kind of explained that it's this, very goofy, running gag.
I thought Paprika was kind of weird.
Yeah.
And I like things that mess with my head, and I've got to go back and watch it again and figure out. Oh wait, anything with like that I have to watch it multiple times to figure out. But it's got to be entertaining enough to grab me in. To actually want to watch it that second time. So some things can be weird where it's something you don't want to finish.
Yeah.
Or it could be weird where I finished it and I want to watch it again. And
it's such a fine line to walk, where you want it to be like just weird enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's hard.
That's where I think Fooly Cooly got a lot of people in. It was very strange, but had an appeal that pulled people back into it.
There was enough plot. There was enough sort of character development that folks. It felt kind of normal in that sense. Tommy Universe, interesting. I've not had a chance to see that one. There's so much out there. Restaurant. The
At the end of the universe.
The last
restaurant.
It's like a Franz Kafka story or something.
I just finished Metamorphosis.
The Restaurant of Many Orders. That's what I'm thinking of.
Restaurant of Many Orders.
Yeah, it's a short story. Actually, it may not have been Kafka. It may have been somebody else. But it's this like short horror story that's been adapted into anime a couple of different times actually. There was like a stop motion version and an animated version.
Oh wow!
And that's a weird one because it is the story itself is kind of very maybe rococo would be the word. Just a lot of description, a lot of things going on. and so the animation is always a weird thing.
The answer is 42.
And there we are. But the question, what is the question?
What was the question?
Exactly. We don't get much parody in anime. Making fun of genres.
Anime parodying anime sometimes. But in general,
Yeah.
not much external parody.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of like sports parodies, right?
No.
Or other things like that.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, sports anime is ripe for a parody. You know, that is so.
That would be that's something that they should come up with. Some more, some parody animes.
Yeah. Land of the Lustrous was absolutely pretty strange. You know, they're fighting like Buddhist symbols in the sky. It's maybe even like Hindu ones. I'm not sure. The giant like multi-faced Hindu statues in the sky that like
sounds kind of
fire arrows at
abstract.
them.
Yeah.
But it's all like actual characters running around and shooting, using swords. Very, very odd.
You know, it's kind of strange. Some of those things, as they get more abstract, they can be really good or really bad depending upon whether I know the references. And if it gets too abstract and I don't know the references, I can only go on the appeal of the surrealism of what is being portrayed. Like, there were some Space Dandy episodes that got very bizarre.
Yeah.
And I could see that being something that people just like, this is just too weird, it's not making sense. But if you're thinking in a very abstract way, or sometimes when there's a reference to something that is historically real, but it's been twisted a little bit differently to suit the purpose of the anime. I don't know.
Yeah. So Jay asks, do you think there's an anime that's so random, but that makes it work? That's interesting. Because I think that is where you're really riding that edge. Because when it gets completely random, it's just really hard to follow. Well, you can't follow it, literally.
It becomes an art flick at some
Yeah,
point, and it goes away from anime just because of the.
So I think an example of that for me would be the Belladonna of Sadness.
You've seen that?
Yes,
I have that.
Nice. Yeah.
That's a very unusual style of animation. They saved a little bit on their budget, but yeah, the story.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen that besides us?
Not for kids.
Not for kids. Definitely not for kids. It's the Belladonna of Sadness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Early Osamu Tezuka work, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah. I think
Wow.
his studio. I don't think he was directly involved in it, but his studio did it. So yeah, there's some. So Yorikuma Arashi is a good example of a show that's weird but not random, right? Like, there's a plot, there's revelation of characters. It's just a lot of really strange symbols and imagery all thrown together, but you know, all of those things are consistent throughout the show. And it isn't like jumping from random character to random character. Once you have the cast together, you're like, okay, this person's doing that person's doing that. Whereas like Angel's Egg is very much, like, it is consistent, but it is moving from sort of imagery to imagery, scene to scene, and it isn't as direct. I'm trying to think of something. In Cat Soup is more or less just kind of random imagery thrown at things. Trying to think of other examples of things that are really, really random but still work in that way. And I think it is hard because excuse me. Television animation in particular it's a commercial product, right? It has to appeal to an audience, so you don't get a lot of like really. Well, Mind Game. I mean, Mind Game is, I don't know how random that is. It's been so long since I watched it, but definitely abstract, definitely bizarre. Excel Saga. Yeah, that's one that didn't work for me. I didn't find Excel Saga particularly is compelling. Didn't really enjoy.
What about when the anime is based off a manga that or a light novel that assumes that you've already gotten up to speed with other content before coming into it?
That definitely happens. Yeah.
or a game, a video game where
Mm-hmm.
the audience is expected to know the game intimately to really understand and integrate with the story.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely an issue.
Those I have a little bit more trouble with. Unless I played the
Mhm.
game and I'm familiar with it, then I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
This doesn't make sense. Why would they?
Mm-hmm. Omar, good to see you. So I'm not aware of people who grew up loving Gundam Wing and hate it now. It may be a thing. I just haven't heard of that. That's interesting. That's the first I've heard of that as a trend. I would assume that is the standard. What's the C.S. Lewis quote? I am no longer a child, and by putting away childish things, I also put away that childish obsession with trying to be seen like an adult at all times. Um, where there's a point at which everything you liked as a child must be terrible because you were a child when you liked it. So maybe there's some of that operating. I don't know.
Interesting idea.
Because okay.
What would be the other motivations? Just familiarity familiarity breeding contempt, or would there be? Oh, I watched this, but now there's so many other
Yeah.
series in the franchise that are so much better. Why did I watch this?
Mm-hmm. I think that's there too. I think also Gundam Wing. It is true that Gundam Wing is a very beloved series that. When you look at it more objectively, like the animation's pretty repetitive. The characters, like I love them, but they tend to be a little archetypical. And so I think once you get some distance from it, it's easy to find flaws in the show. So I think folks should jump on that bandwagon and just, tear it to pieces instead of realizing, okay, but there's fun stuff too. There are things I liked about this, despite those issues.
Some things age well, and some things have a little bit more issue.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
1 Corinthians.
There we go. Angel's Eggs had approximately 6 lines of dialogue in total. Yeah, that is true. Which is weird. I'm like, why bother? Like, why have any dialogue at all?
Wasn't there a Mel Brooks movie where there was only like one phrase in the entire movie, or one line in the entire movie?
Wow.
Yeah, I think there was something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like a whole movie. It's all silent except for the.
There's there's a sketch that they would do on Whose Line Is It Anyway? A game where one person, three people are all doing a scene. One person is just doing the scene, and the other 2 people can only speak in one of 2 phrases. So they're trying to get out of the jungle, and one person can only say, "Why did you say that?" Or "What's that over there?" And so it turns into "Why do you say that?" Why do you say that? Why do you say that?
The content,
Yeah.
the emphasis on different syllables,
Exactly.
different meaning.
Silent movie. There we go.
That's the one.
Fantastic Planet had a good amount of talking. It wasn't that one. But yeah, I'm sure that's also like a thing, right? People try to do that. Interestingly, yeah, I had not noticed that, Almar. That's interesting. But yeah, I think it's again familiarity breeding contempt and all that stuff. Yeah. It's a shame. I think a lot of people are. Well, I think the other problem there too. That's also YouTube. YouTube generally encourages negative reviews. Negative reviews tend to get more views on YouTube than positive reviews. Right, so and it's just that general algorithmic stuff where people see 8 things I hate about XYZ, and that triggers interest more than 8 things I love about this thing. It's just human nature being preyed upon in that, unfortunately. You know what it sounds like? Do you hear that? Do you hear that sound?
Is that
That sound?
Is that the sound of?
It sounds like it sounds like the news.
Sounds like news.
All right, the time for news. Let's talk about the news. So I do not actually have like the lower things on this. We're just going to talk and do the thing. So, starting with a rather somber story, unfortunately. So, responding to the tragic arson attack on Kyoto Animation's first studio building back in July, wow, a long time ago, which was allegedly started using gasoline, the Japanese government plans to enact stricter rules for purchase of the chemical. Japan's Fire and Disaster Management Agency will now require gas stations and other gas sellers to conduct ID checks on customers and ask them the reason for their purchase.
That sounds inconvenient.
Definitely. The agency had previously suggested voluntary ID checks back in July, but after some customers refused, the rule will now be mandatory.
Oh,
Yeah. The agency plans to implement these new rules starting in February, so a little while to go, and said it hopes these measures will encourage gasoline sellers to report any suspicious customers to the authorities. We certainly hope so.
although it's not going to stop them from lying. Yeah,
No.
I'm putting it in my lawnmower. My.
Yeah. What's sad is this feels like it's an attempt to encourage the gasoline sellers to pay more attention to who's coming in and who's getting stuff. But
Mandatory.
yeah, being mandatory and also asking folks to do it isn't probably going to help that much. I don't know.
Yeah, if somebody's going to do something wrong, they're going to lie about the gasoline. It's not rocket science to figure that. The intent is good natured, but the application of it just lacks teeth.
Yeah.
It just inconveniences people.
Yeah. Also kind of odd because it's not like there's been a string of dozens of gasoline attacks. Right? So I don't know. They may be worried about copycat, attacks as well.
No, that's
so it's true. Anyway, sad, but moving on. New anime announcements.
Oh.
Yes. Several more upcoming anime. The official Twitter account for the role-playing app game Onmyoji announced an anime adaptation this week. It'll be called Onmyo Hyakki Monogatari, or 100 Yin and Yang Demon Stories,
Wow.
and is set to premiere in 2020. The Twitter announcement also included a short promo video and revealed the voice cast for the story's main characters. Now, this game was developed by Chinese developer NetEase and released in China in 2016, then in Japan in 2017, and globally in English in 2018. A Chinese animation based on the game was released in April 2018, which premiered in Japan in July of this year. So, what that tells me is they're pushing this hard. They want to get this out there. The game takes place in a time when demons and humans coexisted, and tells the story of a gifted group of humans with the power to connect the two worlds, the titular Onmyoji, and their fight against the evil spirits of the underworld. Now, here's the interesting thing. Onmyoji is a Japanese term. In a game from a Chinese developer. Huh.
That doesn't happen too often.
No.
No,
It's
it's
odd. It's cool. Japanese culture certainly spreading. Then game and animation company Tokyo Toon is producing a new multimedia project entitled Marco and Galaxy Dragon. The project is planned to have a game and an anime, though the anime is set to appear only within the game itself and on a Blu-ray package with physical versions of the game.
Oh, that's an interesting distribution.
Yeah, you gotta get the game to get the anime. The game itself is set to debut on Steam in February in Japanese, English, and Chinese.
Again.
China.
Yeah.
Interestingly, while the planner and scriptwriter is the same for both mediums, the game and the anime have two different character designers, and their style is wildly different. Let me see if I can show y'all, because I always have an issue with this. Nope, not that. Actually, that might work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So that is what it looks like. The characters you see, sitting on top of all of these TVs are the characters from the game. The images you see on the TV are what they're going to look like in the anime.
So the little boxes.
Yeah, the little boxes with the little like panty and stocking style character designs. That's what the anime is going to look like, but the game's going to look like all of these cute girls. So, hey, it's a thing. It's a way of doing things. But kind of interesting.
Sounds very innovative. I
Yeah.
haven't seen anybody else do something quite like that.
Definitely. So yeah, those are the same characters. Tokyo Toon is also streaming short clips from the anime on YouTube. So if you're interested, go check those out. So you can find it and see it. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
An anime adaptation has been announced for Michi Ichiho's Yes Ka no Ka Hanbun Ka, which is a boys' love light novel series. The novel follows Kei Kunikida, a popular TV announcer who, despite maintaining a perfect outward facade, spends his time inwardly cursing everyone around him as incompetent idiots. Which, to be fair, is something we can all relate to at least occasionally. The novels began publication in 2014 and have topped several rankings of BL and light novels over the years since their debut. Then game developer Spicy Tales, a lot of game based stuff here, announced on Thursday it'll be launching a crowdfunding campaign for an anime adaptation of its World End Economica visual novel. The campaign will launch on November 14th, and the company noted in the announcement that at that time it will reveal the reason why an anime project is being launched now, even though the final episode of the game debuted back in 2013.
That's a little ways ago.
Yeah. Visual novel publisher Sekai Project released the trilogy on Steam in English beginning in 2014, and announced in 2016 the games were going to release for PlayStation 4 and PS Vita. Though this release was delayed past its original 2017 debut date, they stated in July that they are still in the process of finalizing the port. The three-part visual novel is set in the far future, 16 years after humans have begun colonizing the moon. As described by Sekai Project, a young boy named Haru has been chasing his wildest dream to stand where no man has stood before. To do so, he needs capital. A ludicrous amount of capital. What better place to get that much money than by using the stock market? Wow. That's quite interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious why they waited that long. That's
Yeah. And crowdfunding.
and crowdfunding. Were they waiting till they had the capital? Is
Yeah, apparently.
the ludicrous capital.
So I wonder, because, I mean, crowdfunding has been sort of hit and miss for anime. Some big successes, some that just kind of fizzled.
Yeah.
Certainly not the runaway success as in other markets.
I wonder
So I wonder.
why they're taking stock in the crowdfunding.
We'll find out November 14th, apparently. The Anime Tourism Association, meanwhile, held a press conference on Tuesday to reveal their 2020 list of noteworthy anime-related tourist spots.
Hey.
Yeah. Want to go to Japan?
Radar up.
Let's go. The Anime 88 is named after Shikoku's 88 Temple Pilgrimage, Japan's most famous Buddhist pilgrimage route. Though the anime pilgrimage list actually contains 137 locations, with 111 anime setting locations and 26 anime-related institutions or events.
I'd love to do them all.
Absolutely. The list is based on an online poll held by the Tourism Association's website over the summer. This is interesting. The association also revealed statistics about those who contributed to the poll. 60% of this year's voters were from outside Japan.
Hey.
The top 5 foreign territories were China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, the US, and Thailand.
Wow.
No Europe, no South America.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Yeah. Western countries have seen a particular increase in participation in the yearly poll, with the US, UK, and Canada all making this year's top 10. So, okay. Yeah. Still, 2 city mayors also spoke about anime's effect on their tourism at this press conference. The mayor of the small town of Tonosho, which is featured in Karakai Jozu no Takagi-san, revealed that at first the town's residents weren't very familiar with the anime. No big shock there. But came to know about it through the many new visitors it brought to the town.
Why are these people coming to see our place? They saw it in an anime? What?
The mayor of Komatsu City also commented that thanks to the anime Girly Air Force, the number of visitors to his city tripled.
Oh, wow.
Man. The full list is available in English. So if you want to check out the anime pilgrimage sites yourself, find the link in the Geek Archaeology Discord down there in the description box below. Now, a title that's on the lips of all anime fans everywhere, Slayers, is getting a 30th anniversary event. The classic fantasy light novel series, Slayers, will be hosting its 30th anniversary event in March of 2020. The Slayers 30th anniversary event, If You Don't Gather, Everything Will Explode event, love that, will be held at Tokyo Dome City Hall. It'll feature a talk show event with 3 of the main voice actors from the anime series, including Megumi Hayashibara, voice actor of the protagonist Lina Inverse, Marie Kawamura, who voiced Naga the Serpent, and Yasunori Matsumoto, the voice of Guri Gabriev. By the way, Megumi Hayashibara is also Rei Ayanami, Belle Dandy. I mean, she's a major, and a successful singer. Fantasia Bunko began publishing the novels in 1990. Between the main novel series and the 1991 side story series, the franchise has inspired 5 TV anime series, 2 OVAs, and 5 anime films, plus multiple manga adaptations.
Wow.
That's a franchise, right?
That's
there.
a franchise.
Dang. Finally, Kadokawa's monthly New Type magazine has announced the results of their New Type Anime Awards 2018-2019. Readers of monthly New Type and other anime fans vote for their favorite works in a series of categories, selecting from anime that were released between the summer of 2018 and the spring of 2019 anime seasons. This year's winner for best work in the TV and streaming category was Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, and best work in theatrical screening was Studio Trigger's Promare. Characters from Demon Slayer also topped the lists of both best male and best female characters. In fact, most of the other categories were won by staff or cast from Demon Slayer, with a couple more wins for Promare in the mix, and one top prize for the new Uta no Prince-sama movie, best soundtrack. Either Demon Slayer was this year's best new anime by far, or lots of its fans read New Type. Either way, congratulations to Demon Slayer, Promare, and all the winners.
Yay.
Always neat to see. And, I mean, as we were saying earlier, I think, anytime anything's big and new, it tends to kind of sweep a lot of these sorts of things. Fans are really excited.
Yeah.
But really, really cool.
The buzz.
Yeah.
And that's
The news. Cool. You feel old. Yeah, I hear that. See, you're still waiting on Ranma. Yeah, Ranma will be next, definitely.
Ranma.
See here.
Ranma threw me for a loop hearing.
Onyoji is the Chinese reading of kanji. Kunyoji are Japanese readings of kanji. Interesting. Oh, hey, Aisha Clan. Good to see you.
Hey.
Welcome back. My Immortal was definitely an experience. My Immortal is always an experience. Let's see here. Original added commentary. Good to know. Hey, Game Escape. Good to see you. Girly Air Force is actually really good. Don't let the name put you off. Worth watching its on Crunchyroll. Girly Air Force. That sounds familiar. I'm just going to Google that real quick. Oh, this! Yeah. I saw an ad for this and I was like, you've got to be kidding. But I can totally see how this would be fun. It's not as weird as... What's that dragon fighter jet anime thing? Where a girl goes in and like there's a dragon in a hangar and they put armor around it and it turns into a fighter jet.
Yeah.
Like that's... Wow. That was a weird idea. Somebody designed that. Somebody planned that one. I've not seen Kaminari. I've heard good things, but I do not know. Yeah.
Underrated anime.
Underrated anime. That's a tough one. Well,
Well, I haven't seen all of the
yeah.
anime, so.
I mean, you know our standard answer to this one, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've done that one before. Yeah.
You know, there's
Yeah.
one that I saw recently that was pretty good, but I hadn't heard anybody ever mention it before, called Red Data Girl.
Oh, I've heard the title, but never seen anything about it.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was an okay anime. Girl grows up in she in a shrine, and when she gets around electronics, they crash. So she can't get near the computers at school and other complications like that. It was an interesting short series.
Cool.
So that was one. I don't know. What would you consider something that is a hidden gem that it doesn't get a lot of?
So I do a whole panel on this. So ones I would recommend would include Mech Romance Heroes War, which is a story about a bunch of kids in like Meiji era Japan who accidentally unlock a giant wooden mecha.
A wooden mecha. I like that.
And
Wooden mecha.
they sort of go on this this road trip kind of adventure with this giant wooden mecha. Same staff as Wolf's Rain, actually. The same studio as Wolf's Rain, rather. So beautiful art, beautiful animation, but definitely an oddball show. Fans of Greek myth would enjoy Arion, an anime film about Arion, a classic Greek hero who rounds up various adventures and goes off and fights Cerberus and all that kind of good stuff. Which Cerberus fires lasers out of its mouth. Mouths.
Wow.
I don't know. Why not? You know, it's anime. What is a manga title that you wish would get an anime adaptation? Everything connects together. So you mentioned girl can't live around electronics. And I mentioned this a little bit prior, but I finally got all of it. So I'm going to be reading it soon. Hikatsu, which I mentioned earlier. So main character in this is a martial artist who, you know how if your electronics aren't working very well, you kind of hit it and they work? Well, yep. He gets this idea that...
She's Hey, let me see if I get a focus there.
Yeah.
Give me back my 200 yen. She's beating up a vending machine.
So, extremely skilled martial artist who gets into his head that, if banging something fixes it, he's going to perfect the repair punch.
The repair punch.
Unfortunately, every time he
Percussive
tries...
maintenance.
Yes, exactly. Unfortunately, he is so strong, every time he tries to perform the repair punch, he shatters the equipment into a million pieces.
I did that once with a Blu-ray.
Oh!
All it needs is a good whack.
Yeah. So
sounds
very,
fun.
very goofy, over-the-top, sort of shonen-y manga. A lot of fun.
Strike
And,
a blow to vivify.
Yes. So I enjoyed that one a lot. That would be a really good adaptation. Apparently we're going to get an adaptation of Pluto, which would be kind of my top list, which is a Naoki Urasawa adaptation of Astro Boy. Very, very interesting. Other than that, I don't know. Like, back when it was coming out, Ancient Magus' Bride was always my answer. But then we got an anime of that, which was awesome.
I did enjoy Steel Angel Kurumi.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to see that one of these days. Well, then lots of, older anime that have kind of passed by. All-purpose cultural cat girl Nuku Nuku.
All-purpose cultural cat girl Nuku Nuku.
That's the one. A brilliant inventor is on the run from his overbearing wife, and he and his son rescue a cat that's about to die. But fortunately, he has his android body. So he transplants the brain of the cat into the body of this android, and so you get this, very pleasant, cheerful, like 16-year-old girl-ish, who is very highly distracted by fish, and lays on the roof and does this a lot, very cute, very very fun. A little bit of fan service here and there, but that very innocent like 90s fan service.
Dragon Pilot.
A Dragon Pilot,
that was
that's
the
it.
one.
Yep. I haven't watched Outlaw Star yet.
Yeah,
not all the way through, but
I
I've seen
love
fair
that.
chunks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to. I think I own that now.
Asia Clank, my
Yes.
favorite character there. She's just
Speaking of cat girls,
yeah.
yeah.
I wish they would make an anime adaptation of Neuromancer, because
Yeah.
that
Yep.
lends itself to animation so much more than an overly CG, real
Yeah.
live action type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It would be ideal for anime.
Yeah. Agreed.
Of course, it's not Japanese source material, so the chances of that are. I've heard that a script's been bouncing around Hollywood for years, and just
Yeah.
somebody needs to take it and wrestle it and say, "Look, guys, turn this into anime."
Exactly. Let me think.
Hey, Ben.
Excuse me. I've always wanted to see Dune anime.
Dune anime would be nice.
Mm-hmm. Just feels that way. I got the hiccups. Uh-oh.
The expression you got. What's terrible is when you hiccup and you have like a cough at the same time, or a sneeze.
That. Yep. Terrible. But yeah, I love what I've seen of Outlaw Star. No, that is just a treasure. And I really like the relationship between Jean and the girl. What's the girl's name? That's gonna annoy me. You all will know.
Eventually it'll-
Yeah. Because it is very sweet. It is, they clearly, like, he cares for her at this fundamental level, and she really respects that, which is nice to see in a world of tsundere and miscommunications and misunderstandings and all that, to get a very, very realistic thing. Nope.
Not currently.
Nope. I have moved on from NASA. I'm currently working at Capital One. Excuse me, this is going to be annoying.
Sorai Cake Girl.
So I'm currently I think.
Yeah, have you
Oh,
seen the Sorai
Banjay.
Cake?
Sorokakero Shoujo? I don't think so. Let me look that up.
Burping, sneezing, and hiccup.
That would suck. Yeah. I might do that, right? It might happen involuntarily. The Girl Up Through Space! Yes! I still have not finished that because it gets so dark later on. But one of these days I will finish it out because that is a remarkable show. It's basically Sunrise making fun of every anime ever.
Parodies, yeah.
Hey, there we go, parody. Definitely a funky hidden gem. But yep. Everything else, yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I think the anime of Outlaw Star came first. I think the manga was an adaptation of the anime. I'm not sure. Stelvia. No one talks about Stelvia these days. Stelvia was huge when it came out, especially in Japan. But it seems to have disappeared. I've never seen Stelvia. I have the opening theme song, which I really love for some reason. But never got a chance to watch that.
What's it about?
It's space, right? It's
Oh, I do like space.
girls in space, basically. Escaflowne.
Escaflowne,
Oh. Yeah, Escaflowne all day, every day. Escaflowne is... Escaflowne does a lot. It accomplishes a lot in one show, and it is very distinctive, right?
Yeah.
It looks different. It feels different.
I did like Razafan.
Mm-hmm.
Just the soundtrack.
Yeah. Never finished that one either. One of these days, we'll do like a sit-down...
What's the joke?
watch it
It's
all.
Evangelion done right.
Yeah, right. Yeah. The guy who did Stelvia, he did Bodacious Space Pirates, and was it Nadesco? Was he also the Nadesco guy? I think so. Which there's another hidden gem, Martian successor Nadesco. I mean, I think mecha fans generally know of that series, but folks outside aren't aware of this. Like, you know, one of the more popular anime of the '90s was Nadesco, and which is basically a parody of mecha, while also telling its own little mecha story all the way through it. So very over the top, goofy, but also like surprisingly affecting, right? Like actual plot points. You're like, oh no, not that guy, right? Which is pretty cool. But yeah, that's the thing. Pigs in space. There was a wonderful thing a couple years ago where there was a Muppet Show in England, and they're doing various sketches from the Muppet Show, and they did pigs in space, and then they detected some strange anomaly, and some creature was like beaming on board their ship, and David Tennant walks on stage as Doctor Who, and does this whole sequence with the characters from Pigs in Space. And if you know David Tennant, you know he knows how to do that. Like he's great. That dry humor, really really wonderful. And no one knew there was no with Doctor Who or anything. They just threw it on there, which was really really cute. Oh man, Key the Metal Idol. Oh, so there's a good example of a show that if you went back and watched it again, you'd probably go, I don't know. Key the Metal Idol is a dark, serious, slightly cyberpunk anime series about an android girl who no one believes is an android girl because technology just isn't advanced enough for that yet. But she is convinced she's an android, and strange stuff starts to happen, which draws in her and her best friend. And it turns out there's a lot of strange things going down that Key ends up being involved in. And so what's interesting is that Key very much acts like an automaton. She has very little personality. She responds to people with very simple sentences. And they all believe that she is heavily traumatized. She grew up with her uncle, who also believed she was also said she was an android. And so they all believe that she believes this of herself. But then, strange things start happening, and robots start showing up that were built by some company. And it was revealed her uncle was working in android field. She could be, but she has skin and
which would be weight.
All that stuff. Obviously heat and all those sorts of things. It's there's no way. But as the show goes on, you're like, what's going on? And she's able to do certain things, there's this interesting element because her mother was a Shinto priestess. And so there's this idea that maybe she has some magical powers that she's channeling. But if so, if she's an android, how can she do that? And it's one of those shows that has a lot of elements to it, that has some interesting character work, and that can also be cheap as hell a lot of the time. Which kind of undercuts a lot of what they're trying to do. There's a famous sequence where in one of the final movies where two characters are talking in a park, and one guy stands up and stands off to the side, and the camera only ever shows him from this angle. Excuse me.
Just a side.
Yeah, just a side view. So you never see his lips. And the other guy goes,
We saved so much money on not doing lip flaps.
The
We could
entire
recycle
scene.
the same side of this guy's head over and over and just cut back and forth between the side of his head and the guy who's talking off screen.
And that's the entire scene. Like, there's no animation whatsoever once they get into position. It's just cutting back and forth between these static shots.
Our lip flap animator was on vacation
Exactly,
that week.
yeah,
We had
apparently.
to get the deadline.
Yeah. So it's kind of tough.
Oh gosh, that's funny.
If you've seen late Evangelion, you know how
Yeah.
that can be.
Commander Akari.
So it has its flaws. It has some serious flaws, but it also has some amazing moments. There's a great. Is this a spoiler?
Oh,
Okay, so there's a character that definitely has powers, and someone very important to that character is taken away, and it is kidnapped essentially, and they go up to the building where they know this person has been kidnapped, and it's this big, like commercial, not like commercial, but like a office building, and they're like, what do we do now? Like, how do we get in? And the power just goes at the door, and the door opens. Bam! And they walk in, and they look at each other like, okay. I guess that's what's going to happen now, And just one of those, the character is just completely like, no, we're going in. I'm going to make us go in. It just opens the door. It's like, great moment.
to rewrite the plot.
Pretty much. Braves of the Six Flowers get another season. That's cool. Sort of Aztec inspired
That
anime,
sounds
which is pretty cool.
interesting.
What pushed the ratings? Adult, teen, or whatever. Nurse Nanako. Evangelion certainly did. With a certain scene involving Misato and Kaji. Other shows that push the boundaries of kind of adult and such.
Are we talking ratings that show up automatically on the screen or on the back of DVDs? Ratings where?
I think I would
Because-
interpret that more broadly.
Because
what
ratings
is-
in general,
Yeah.
because
yeah.
TV's been pushing the envelope for the past few decades.
True.
It used to be they couldn't say half the stuff that they say now, or
Mhm.
show it only after a certain time at night. Or,
Married people would have to have the bed separated.
yeah, way back in the.
Mm-hmm. How do I feel? Go ahead.
It's there's a portion of it
Definitely.
that's self-policing,
Mhm.
like putting the recommendations on the back of like
Mm.
DVDs or Blu-rays or stuff like that. That's kind of been a self-policing thing.
Yeah.
Because if it's going to be a movie release, then the Motion Picture Association has a rating system, and they have a group of people who determine it based on certain criteria. But that's different than the rating that's on the back of the DVDs.
Yeah.
Like 16 and up is not a rating, and there's different ratings for different countries.
Yeah.
If you're talking about something that's being broadcast on TV, like a TV series, then they have their own rating that they put in the upper left-hand corner, TV Young, sex, violence, graphic images. And then there's this completely different rating that's being used by Netflix. I mean, you can see what the motion picture recommendation was, but then sometimes they'll have a blurb that goes across the top of the screen that says, may contain graphic nudity or drug use or language or something. So ratings have been kind of pushing the envelope depending upon which area of what rating. And
Yeah, I can't think of a single title that has had a major impact on that. I would actually break it up more by era.
yeah,
Because I think you didn't see that too much back in, say, the 80s.
yeah.
And then at least in anime, like anime over here, you got stuff like Akira and Ghost in the Shell, which suddenly it's like, okay, these are cartoons, but we can't label them cartoons. So you had to put a rating on those.
I think
And-
anything that hits air is going to push that envelope.
Yeah.
If it doesn't hit air, it kind of flies under the radar.
And I know Cartoon Network had that problem because when they would air all this, all the violent, shonen anime titles, folks would call in and complain because they're like,
I thought
This
this was the Dexter
cartoon for
Lab show.
kids,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like we lead in from Yogi Bear to, Dragon Ball Z. Very, very different. So yeah, that may have also pushed things in general.
Toonami starts at 8.
Yeah. Very different things. Let's see here. I do not think of anime in terms of best and worst. Gundam's a great example where, I can tell you Gundam series that I like and dislike, but they are at vast odds to how most people think about Gundam. So I don't know that they'd be particularly useful because they're unlikely to match your expectations. My least favorite Gundam series is 0083, which a lot of other people seem to like, because it's just it's about a main character who is doesn't really grow at all over the course of the series. He's kind of this whiny young man, and I just don't really see much growth in him despite everything that happens. And the other characters are kind of one note, kind of one-dimensional. People have called it the Top Gun of anime. And there's a lot of like action animation, really beautiful animation. But kind of like Top Gun, like those characters don't grow much. It's an action movie, so there's just not that going on. But over the course of 8 episodes, like I kind of hoped something would happen, and then I can't get into the ending. But the ending I have issues with, just in terms of not realism. I mean, it's mecha, but they set up things and things happen. And I'm like, I just don't buy that, right? That kind of thing. But whatever.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like I know this series is coming to an end, and so do the authors, and it feels like they're trying to wrap everything up real quick, and so it doesn't feel as developed. It's like, okay, they know they're not getting it renewed for their contract. It's gonna, okay, how are they gonna tie all these things up? Okay, I can guess through these, and that's a shocker. Or,
And you contrast that with, say, 8th MS Team, which had the sad disadvantage that its director passed away, like 2/3 of the way into the OVA. So somebody else came in to finish it out, and because that happened, everyone knew, okay, we're gonna give them time. We're gonna let them sort of figure it out. We're gonna let that director kind of have his own, style, his own mark on that. And that allowed them to come in and have a little more time to kind of figure out where it was going to go and polish up some plot lines and things like that you wouldn't necessarily.
Under new management.
Yeah, pretty much. That's right. Char's Counterattack will be in theaters December 5th, which I might go to.
Everybody go see.
Right, just because, I mean, we don't get too many of those
anime
sort of things.
in the theater.
What really catches you to watch an anime? That's a good question. Excuse me.
Mood, genre,
Mm-hmm.
good graphics.
Yeah.
Everybody loves a good story, and having a good story and depth of characters, as well as good animation and music, can really make a package. You can probably make some concessions for one of those areas or two of those areas, artistically or stylistically. If something's more abstract but it has a good story, if it's more limited animation but the character depth is deep, it's a trade-off for me.
Agreed. And I want to go back to what you mentioned earlier. I think that sort of tone, to me, is one of the key things. It has to have a consistent tone, right? A tone that matches the setting and the characters and the kind of genres that it's going for. And that doesn't mean it has to be like stereotypical, but just if that tone kind of feels right, I'll forgive a lot of other things. That back there, they're asking about. That is Iria, from Iria Zerum the Animation, a classic 90s OVA. Classic because it aired on Sci-Fi Channel over and over. Spin-off of a live-action movie, oddly enough.
Oh, wow.
And a really cool sci-fi action story. And one of those things that I just really enjoyed watching when I was 22 and just getting into anime. It's so different. The setting is very original, which is always neat to see. But yeah, I totally agree. When you're looking for an anime, I think it's got a not the total package, but multiple things.
Yeah,
come together.
You can usually trade out one piece for another if it's really strong in another category. But if it lacks a lot of categories, I've found some anime where their intro or their out music is just so annoying I have to just jump past it because it's like it grates on my nerves.
Yep.
But the story is good, so I'm gonna keep watching it. Or the mix is a little bit too loud on the ambient music that goes along with the story. The underscoring. But sometimes you can adjust things on your sound system to bypass that. What about bad voice acting, or just not good? Not necessarily bad voice acting, but not a good fit for the character. Have you found that to be a
Definitely, that's a detriment.
factor on anything?
If the character's around a lot and their voice is just annoying, I had that problem with Ranma 1/2, the Japanese version. I do not like the male version of Ranma. And it's a totally personal thing. Obviously, that is a legendary dub in Japanese, but I had to go to the English version for that one. It's odd. But yeah, and I think we're both pretty forgiving of dub performances. But yeah, you can definitely get to this point. You're like, it's hard. And I'm with you there, Olimar. I think Kira and Flay were clearly meant to be. So, I guess mild spoilers for Gundam Seed in this. Okay, there are two characters in Gundam Seed that end up, sort of an item. Shocker. Kira and Flay, and I was not surprised by that. I think a lot of people found that relationship frustrating because it's not a traditional relationship, but it kind of made sense that these two fell together, and that their feelings for each other were very important and kind of informed a lot of their decisions moving forward, despite what ends up happening to them at the end. But I think it worked. It made sense. Oh man. Oh man. You know what? I think I've heard his voice, JJ, and I agree. Totally. Is Bebop overrated, or is the love fully earned? I think it's fully earned.
I definitely feel it's fully earned. Some people may. Yeah, I always try and take any hype with a grain of salt. So if somebody overhypes something, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try and forget everything they said and just judge it on its merits when I watch it.
Very good.
Because otherwise you get disappointed. Oh, this person loved it and I thought it sucked, or vice versa. Oh, this person thought it sucked and I gave it a chance and I loved it. I don't know whether so.
Bebop also has a disadvantage. It is a very atypical anime series. So a lot of people like it because I think a lot of folks got into Bebop because they weren't anime fans, and Bebop was sufficiently Western in terms of its your content and its parodies of sort of Western things. That was kind of their bridge anime.
Yeah.
But other fans who don't they want the Japaneseness, they want the distinctiveness in anime. Bebop just doesn't, it doesn't feel that amazing to them, right?
Yeah, it's not very Japanese stylistically as far as a lot of other anime goes. I mean, it is anime, but it doesn't use a lot of the anime shorthand,
right?
That we see.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely a bridge animation because it can capture a lot of sci-fi audience, and I think it definitely carries its own weight.
Yeah. Again, I don't know what good means when it comes to Ghost in the Shell. If you're talking about sequels,
are we talking about Arise, or are we talking about any of the Ghosts?
Right. So assuming you mean anything beyond like the first movie, then absolutely the TV series is in some ways superior to the original movie, in the sense that it is closer to a lot of the tones of the original manga. It explores the world and the themes of that more thoroughly than the movie could, because the movie is just 90 minutes long. So I really, really love Ghost in the Shell, Standalone Complex, and Second Gig, right? And the movie was pretty good too. What was it? Solid State Society. That's it.
Yep.
That worked pretty well. But the other stuff I haven't seen. Like, I don't really much love Ghost in the Shell 2. It's interesting, but it just didn't quite match up.
I enjoyed it all.
Yeah,
I love the whole franchise.
Yeah.
I think it took it can capture a more mature audience, not just because of the the sexy outfits, but because it's dealing with scenarios that are of a more mature concern. The ideas of immigrants, of struggle for power within structures of government, international power dynamics, the idea of the individual versus the collective in society. And it provides a platform for deeper concepts to be explored than some of the more emotionally based slice of life shows. So I can really appreciate that kind of story, for just because it it's more like Tom Clancy than it is Leave It to Beaver. So
Yeah. Totally too. Yeah, so Black Sheep, there's a comic that is unfair but funny, which shows Mamoru Oshii going onto wiki quotes and Googling philosophy and copying and pasting that into a document and labeling it Ghost in the Shell 2 shooting script and going, done! Again, unfair, but there is an aspect where it's just, here's Voltaire and here's something else, just kind of, over and over. It's like, yeah. But yeah. And that's one of the tough things, too. Indiana Jones has this problem in a weird way. Raiders of the Lost Ark was meant to be a fun, light, Flash Gordon style movie, right? What they ended up with happened to be one of the great films of the 20th century. Obviously through a lot of work. But then every other Indiana Jones film gets compared to that first film, when a lot of them are just trying to be a fun, light adventure movie, right? And so you get that problem with Ghost in the Shell, where that first movie is an amazing work of art and very deep and very complex in its own ways. And other folks always compare to that, and it's like you're not going to get that again. It's lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, a lot of bands have that problem. And musicians, they come out with a body of work early on in their career. They develop a fan base, and then when they try and do something new and creative that's different, their fans, some of their fans get upset. Oh, this isn't anything like what you used to do. Well, as an artist, you grow creatively, and being able to do something different is the mark of creativity. Otherwise, it's formula, copy paste.
Yep.
That can get old because it's very predictable.
Yeah, totally. Full Metal Panic has... you're absolutely right. Full Metal Panic deals with quite a lot of society and expectations and also there's a lot of the main character is pretty screwed up, and that's played for laughs initially, and then they're like, no, he's screwed up and this is bad, and it would be really nice if he got over a lot of his issues before he kills himself or somebody else, and it's and that's not going to happen overnight, and you got to get there somehow, but it's going to be a long road to overcome all of this, all of this crud that's built up in his head, and that is interesting to explore what is essentially a joke character. It's basically Hiro Yui from Gundam Wing, going to high school, but yeah,
Simpsons.
Yeah.
They've been around so long. Is there I always chuckle thinking about South Park's episode where they're trying to come up with ideas. Nope, Simpsons did it. Simpsons did it.
Yeah.
Simpsons did it. They've explored everything possible under the sun because 30 years of doing things over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to get creative ideas that are not referenced. There's nothing new under the sun.
Yep. It is very true.
But
Very true.
Restaurant from Another World.
I have not seen that.
I don't think. Restaurant.
I particularly like the
Oh.
Space Dandy, where they go to try and get the best ramen in the universe, and they go into an sort of an alternate dimension to get this fantastic ramen.
Oh my.
This looks interesting.
Yeah. This looks right up my alley.
Yeah. Restaurant to
Thank
Another
you.
World.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
I'm glad I have Safe Search enabled, apparently.
It's going to make me hungry, I think.
Yeah, I know. Totally. Cool. Well, I think we're going to have to take it down there. End it up there for the night. As always, thank you all so much for joining us. It's a lot of fun. It's cool, good stuff. Sorry, Hainesman, we are not video game players much. So don't have much recommendations.
Does
on the
Blip
video
count?
games. Yeah. So thank you all very much. We should be back next week with another Friday stream. And we will see you next time. Until next time, watch more anime.